Previously on Dragon Ball Shinken, after an extremely intense and painful battle, Vegeta finally manages to find a way to defeat Iwin, but his risky tactic almost cost the destruction of multiple universes, which Vegeta fortunately managed to avoid using the transcendental destruction power of his Shinken form. And Goku, after a very difficult fight against Cumber, managed to hit him with a spirit bomb containing his Shinken power and also all the hope of Universe 7 that the evil Saiyan terrified so much. What will be Goku and Vegeta's next steps? Find out now! Episode 27, The Transcendental Power of Shinken. With the explosion of that spirit bomb, a wave of impact reverberates throughout the universe. However, the energy that reverberates brings with it a feeling of hope, which warms the hearts of all living beings. Filled with that feeling, Goku closes his eyes while smiling, returning to his base form. Man, that was really hard, he admits as he sighs in relief. However, Goku's eyes widen when he feels something. Oh no! From the center of the explosion of light, a being emerges. Surrounded by dark energy, he displays a new appearance, but this time, he emits a glow. What Goku feels is something transcendental, a feeling he knows very well. The one who has just been born is Cumber Shinken. Well, I admit I was truly terrified. It really came very close, Cumber admits. But now, it's you who will feel the real terror! Faced with that figure, Goku simply despairs. Vegeta is still lying on the ground of the planet where he indirectly defeated Iwan. He's very tired because of all the effort he had to make to prevent Iwan's self-destruction from destroying multiple universes. But despite his tiredness, even in base form, he is managing to use the power of the Divine Super Saiyan to heal the wound in his abdomen, which had been pierced by Iwan. But then Vegeta feels what just happened, and he's in shock. What is this? This is Cumber's energy? It cannot be! Vegeta gets up and then teleports. Vegeta arrives at Goku's side with the teleportation. Seeing him, Cumber greets him. Vegeta, I'm glad you decided to join us. Seeing his companion at his side, Goku says, Vegeta, I'm glad you're okay. I was afraid that dealing with all that energy from Iwan would have taken a toll on you. Cut the bullshit, Kakarot. What does that mean? Vegeta asks, referring to Cumber. Cumber says that he has to thank Vegeta for this transformation. At first, Vegeta doesn't get it, but in the next second he understands, and tells Goku that Cumber got the Shinken through his energy that was possessing Iwan. Vegeta remembers that just before Iwan exploded, part of Cumber's energy that was possessing him dispersed. He thought that Iwan was repelling and destroying that energy, but it seems that that wasn't what happened. Cumber confirms Vegeta's theory and explains that in fact, Iwan would have completely destroyed all of his evil energy that was possessing him. But before Iwan did that, he caused part of his energy to leave Iwan, and after that, he absorbed this energy back. And at the moment when he would be completely destroyed by the spirit bomb, he managed to achieve the Shinken form, and thus ended up managing to survive. Cumber thanks Vegeta for making Iwan reach this extreme and revealed this power that he never imagined that God had. Vegeta is outraged by this, and returning to his Shinken form, he furiously advances at Cumber, trying to kick him, but Cumber disappears from in front of Vegeta and reappears behind him at such an incredible speed that Vegeta is scared. The Saiyan God moves away, firing a wave of energy at Cumber, but he stops moving when he ends up bumping into Cumber himself, who is already behind him again. Impossible! Vegeta explains in shock at the enemy's impressive speed. With Shinken, it's completely possible! Cumber responds as he lands a punch so absurdly strong that it momentarily deforms Vegeta's abdomen and back. God Vegeta walks away while shrinking his body due to pain. Vegeta! Goku shouts wordly as he also changes into his Shinken form and charges forward. He reaches Cumber with a punch, which the evil Saiyan easily holds with one hand, and immediately responds with a kick from below that hits Goku squarely in the abdomen, and with the same leg, he lands a knee on Goku's chin. Turns Goku around with the hand he's holding and launches him at Vegeta, who is coming again to attack. Cumber's terrifying energy, which was amplified by Shinken's power, reaches every corner of Universe Number 7. On the planet of the three-eyed race, Tien feels the terrifying energy of the King of Evil Saiyans, reaching the point where his heart beats arrhythmically due to such discomfort that the evil and cruel power causes him. The Shinken power is something that is beyond Tien's understanding, and he cannot feel it as it truly is. But the only thing he knows is that evil is still alive in the universe, and now it is even greater. On Earth, the feeling is similar. Akami's lookout, Krillin, Young Master Roshi, and God Yamcha also can't say exactly what happened and what they are feeling, but they are absolutely sure that a huge evil hovers over the universe. In Hell, King Kai is completely desperate. He can't believe that Cumber managed to survive even the Spirit Bomb and still surpass himself again. King Yema asks what will happen to them now. And King Kai, showing total hopelessness, says that this time Goku and Vegeta's chances are practically zero. At Zeno's palace, the atmosphere is also worrying. Zeno simply cannot accept what just happened. But Cumber was defeated, wasn't he? That's not fair! Shinken remains serious, and this time he's even more worried than he already was. He tells Zeno that at the last moment Cumber managed to save himself, but now things are even more serious than they already were, since the power he is showing now is on a completely different level. Zeno tries to stay positive, saying that at least now Goku and Vegeta are fighting together, so they should be able to win. But Shinken says that Cumber's level now far exceeds theirs, and probably not even fighting together will they be able to win. In fact, Shinken says that he isn't sure even he could defeat Cumber now. When Zeno hears this, his mouth drops open, and with real terror taking over his heart, the Supreme God shudders. At full speed, Goku attempts infinite attacks against Cumber, attacking with punches and kicks in a sequence that exceeds the speed of light countless times. But despite all of Goku's blows, endowed with extreme precision, skill, and speed, Cumber dodges them all. While dodging Goku's incessant blows, the King of Evil Saiyans marvels that Shinken has evolved his abilities to a completely superior level, and that includes his Ultra Instinct. Accumulating a gigantic amount of destruction energy, Vegeta shouts for Goku to move away from Cumber, and when Goku does so, he launches a final Hakai of titanic proportions against the enemy. But the Evil Saiyan remains in the same place, and extending one of his hands to the oncoming massive wave of power, he shouts, "Hakai!" and Vegeta's power simply disappears from existence without leaving any trace. Vegeta can't believe this, and asks what the hell just happened. Cumber recalls that he possessed all the gods of destruction, which means he also has a very well-developed Hakai. And now, with Shinken, this has been taken to a completely higher level. Goku goes to Vegeta's side and tells him that this is not good, since Cumber even surpassed them both in their greatest specialty, which is the power of destruction and Ultra Instinct. No matter what they do, they simply won't be able to defeat Cumber now, as he is superior to them in absolutely everything. Vegeta says he understands the situation very well, but there's nothing they can do other than keep fighting. Goku tells Vegeta that, in fact, there is something they can do. Vegeta soon understands what he means, and he says he won't do that. Goku tells him that there is no other option and that they need to do this. Vegeta responds by saying that he trained very hard all these years and surpassed his limits countless times just so he wouldn't have to do that ever again. Goku says he understands his frustration and says he didn't want to have to resort to this either, but unfortunately it's necessary. Cumber interrupts their conversation by coming up with a flying kick to Goku's face and then directs the same leg that hit Goku toward Vegeta's ribs, landing a side kick that the Hakaishin Saiyan feels a lot. While Vegeta feels a vibrating pain from this attack, Cumber extends his hand to him, preparing an energy attack that would hit his face from close range. But noticing Goku returning to retaliate the flying kick, Cumber gives up attacking Vegeta, disappearing to let Goku hit nothing but the vacuum. He then appears above the two and, with one hand, launches a globe of energy at them. Goku launches a Kamehameha against the globe at the same time as Vegeta launches a Gallic gun. But despite their combined energy, Cumber's globe of power advances against them with ease. Goku and Vegeta need to escape the attack with a teleport, but as soon as they finish the technique, Cumber is already behind them. When they turn around, the God Slayer holds their faces with his hands and makes their heads collide, dizzying them. Goku and Vegeta respond respectively with a punch to the chest and a kick to Cumber's face, but he receives these attacks without any reaction. Watching all this, Daishinkan tells Zeno that even in Shinken form, Goku and Vegeta won't resist many of Cumber's attacks. Turning to the bodyguards, he says that after finishing these two, the palace will definitely be his next destination, and then tells them to get ready. Zeno's guards can't hide their fear. On one of the uninhabited planets in Universe 7, Goku and Vegeta fall, opening a gigantic crater in the ground. Even though they hadn't been facing Cumber Shinken for long and hadn't received many attacks, the two were already very injured and could barely stand. "There's no way this wretch could have gotten that strong," Vegeta complains, feeling his body completely overcome by pain. "There's no other way, Vegeta. This guy's going to end up killing us if we keep fighting like this." Standing up, Vegeta says he won't merge with Goku. Goku, also getting up, says that if they don't merge, they will die. Vegeta says that it doesn't matter, and that he would rather die than give up his pride. Cumber arrives at the planet, and hovering over them, accumulates a huge amount of energy of destruction, saying that he will soon end them both. Seeing the attack that the enemy is preparing, Goku and Vegeta become very worried, as they realize that this attack has enough power to destroy the entire Universe 7 and even others. Vegeta asks if Cumber is crazy, and says that if he launches an attack with such massive power and no precision like this, the entire universe will disappear. But the God Slayer says he doesn't care, because there is nothing else in this universe or in others that interests him. He says he will finish them both off, and after that, he will finally destroy the Supreme God and end his campaign of destroying the gods. Goku asks what he's going to do after destroying the universes and the gods. Cumber says that now he has Shinken, he can find other timelines and other realities. His intention is to continue getting stronger and stronger and destroy everything he finds in his path. He also says that thanks to the Dragon Balls, he knows which reality Goku and Vegeta belong to, and intends to go there and destroy everything too. This worries both of them, who are very irritated by this threat. After saying these things, Cumber says goodbye and then launches his attack. As they see that massive sphere of destruction approaching, Goku tells Vegeta that they need to fuse right now. Vegeta says he doesn't want to do this, but Goku says that even if he doesn't care about dying, he should worry about the other people in Universe 7 and others who are going to be destroyed. And if he doesn't care about the people in this reality, he should at least care about the people in their reality, who Cumber just swore he would kill. Vegeta stays silent. Suddenly, Cumber's energy attack simply disappears. What? Cumber screams in shock. How is this possible? After the destruction of that attack, a new figure could be seen. Bastard, who are you? Cumber asks. The new being that has just appeared introduces himself. I am the fusion of Goku and Vegeta, Gogeta, ready to kick your ass. Seeing what happened, Zeno is very surprised and asks Daishinkan what they did. Daishinkan says that they apparently used a technique called fusion, which made Goku and Vegeta transform into one being, which is this person called Gogeta. Daishinkan also notes that the power of this person called Gogeta is very great, even though he is currently not using any transformation. Zeno is very impressed by this. Wow, Goku and Vegeta are awesome! They always know what to do! The Supreme God exclaims, very excited. Those who also can't contain their excitement are King Kai and King Yemma, who are jumping in joy. King Kai recognized the technique that Goku and Vegeta just used, and explains to Yemma that the power the Metamoru dance fusion gives the user is completely colossal. He states with certainty that this fusion will definitely defeat Cumber. While taking a good look at Gogeta, Cumber remains silent and very serious, recognizing that the power of that guy who just appeared is no joke. Facing Cumber with a smile, Gogeta says, I see you're a little shocked, aren't you? But get ready to be shocked even more, because now you're going to meet Gogeta Shinken! Gogeta concentrates his power, exuding a majestic glow from his body, filling that entire region with an energy that seems to penetrate deep into Cumber's heart, who feels that power with great terror. In just a few seconds, Gogeta Shinken reveals himself. What do you think of that, huh? Gogeta asks his opponent with a teasing tone. I hope you didn't shit your pants after feeling my power. Cumber is deeply irritated by his opponent's words, but despite his anger, he still tries to maintain control and asks Gogeta how he can be so powerful. Gogeta says that the fusion not only added Goku and Vegeta's powers, but also increased them exponentially. The powers of those two, even in Shinken form, don't even compare to his power now. Gogeta tells Cumber that he could win without even using Shinken, but he thought it was appropriate to face Shinken with Shinken. However, if Cumber thinks it's not a fair fight, he can lower his power again. These words penetrate deeply into the King of Evil Saiyans, who lets himself be overcome by fury as his evil energy, mixed with Shinken energy, reveals itself in a very dense aura of power. "You bastard! Who do you think you're talking to? I am Cumber, the God Slayer, and I won't listen to insults from you!" Cumber concentrates his energy in one hand as he charges at full speed towards Gogeta. The next moment, the planet Theron disappears in a very powerful explosion, the pressure of which spreads, shaking the entire solar system. However, this attack carrying the God Slayer's hatred was held back by just one of Gogeta's fingers. "What does that mean?" Cumber asks, completely shocked. He tries to step back, but his hand seems to simply be glued to Gogeta's finger, as if it were a magnet holding him back. He asks what's going on, and Gogeta, while keeping him trapped, says that Cumber is a very nervous guy, and that he could end up destroying the universe from one moment to the next with these attacks, so it's better to take him away. Gogeta uses teleportation to take them both to a completely empty dimension. Cumber still has his hand stuck around Gogeta's finger and asks what the hell technique he's using. Gogeta says that he's just attaching his ki to Cumber's ki, which is a very simple thing for someone who dominates their own ki in a superior way like him. Cumber says that if Gogeta won't let him go for good, he will let him go for bad. The evil Saiyan tries to punch Gogeta straight in the face, but to his complete shock, Gogeta simply opens his mouth and makes a ki arm out of it to hold Cumber's hand. He is completely shocked and scared by that. But he is even more surprised when several ki arms begin to appear around Gogeta, as if they were ghost arms, and these arms begin to beat the God Slayer, who has no way to defend himself. After receiving hundreds of attacks, Cumber becomes enraged and releases his ki in a gigantic explosion, which completely shakes the entire dimension they're in. But when the explosion ends, Gogeta is still there, unharmed. "It's not possible!" Cumber screams. "Man, you're very stressed. You don't have the slightest patience to play," Gogeta says ironically. "It's okay. If you want me to let you go, I will." Gogeta releases Cumber, who quickly moves away from him while forming a Kienzan and shouting for Gogeta to stop playing around. Cumber launches the attack, which simply rips Gogeta in half. "Oh no!" Gogeta screams as his upper and lower body are split apart by Cumber's cutting disc. "Ha! That's the price for fooling around while fighting the great Cumber!" The King of Evil Saiyans screams with laughter. But the one who laughs right after is Gogeta, who simply regenerates his body, making new legs grow from one second to the next. Cumber can't help but open his mouth and widen his eyes, seeing what just happened in complete shock. But his shock doesn't stop there. Gogeta's legs, which were disconnected from his body, advance against Cumber and land a flying blow straight into the Evil Saiyan's chest before landing a sequence of kicks on his face. Zeno watches everything that's happening with his mouth open and asks how this guy called Gogeta manages to do all this. Daishinkan explains that this is all thanks to Shinken, since with mastery of ki, a person can use almost any type of ability, no matter how unbelievable it may seem. There are races that, thanks to the control of ki, are able to become giants, regenerate their bodies, teleport, multiply, and many other things. Shinken, above all, is a stage where the user achieves transcendental control of their own ki, and is thus able to elevate their abilities to extraordinary levels. Once you absolutely master ki, almost anything becomes possible to do. Zeno understands what Daishinkan is trying to say, but says that he didn't see Goku and Vegeta using this type of ability, not even in Shinken form. Daishinkan says that it is because certainly the fusion, as it is an evolution of Goku and Vegeta, also has a better refinement of Shinken itself. So it is natural that this Gogeta guy can do things through Shinken that not even Goku and Vegeta could. Cumber is completely punished by the kicks from Gogeta's old legs, until he becomes completely enraged and, using an extremely concentrated Hakai, makes his legs disappear permanently from existence. After doing so, Cumber fires a sphere of destruction energy at Gogeta himself, saying that this attack had enough concentrated power to destroy an entire universe. But Gogeta holds the sphere of power on the tip of his index finger, and then, with a blow, throws the sphere back to Cumber, who immediately points his hand at his own attack and undoes it. but Cumber doesn't give up and flies towards Gogeta to try a physical attack again. However, he retreats when a whip-like attack he doesn't even see coming hits him in the face. Cumber asks what just happened, but then he starts receiving a sequence of identical attacks, feeling as if an invisible whip was hitting his body several times in a row. When the attacks stop, Cumber asks what Gogeta is doing and tells him to stop cheating, but Gogeta responds by saying that he's not cheating and that it's not his fault if Cumber is too slow to see things. Cumber asks what he's talking about. Gogeta sighs and says that he'll make things easier for Cumber by attacking more slowly. After saying that, Gogeta raises one of his arms and then stretches that arm and starts to spin it. Now Cumber understands what is happening, recognizing that he can stretch his arms like the Namekians. Gogeta throws his arm like a whip. Cumber, now seeing better, dodges and advances towards Gogeta, but soon after he's hit again. "You bastard! How did you do that?" he asks. Looking better at Gogeta, he sees that the enemy is now using both arms. Well, you didn't think I would make it easy for you, did you? Using both whip arms, Gogeta simply punishes Cumber with attacks so transcendently fast that not even with Shinken and Ultra Instinct can Cumber dodge. After punishing the enemy a lot, Gogeta finally stops the attacks and retracts his arms. The result of these attacks, Cumber's body is covered in wounds. But that's just the external result. The internal result is a colossal fury that grows in the evil Saiyan, whose power now increases at the same time he releases his bestial energy. Gogeta is surprised, realizing that Cumber's power is growing even more. He figured Shinken would be the evil Saiyan's limit for now, but it appears that isn't the case. Cumber now begins to emanate another type of energy, red energy. Kaioken increased 10,000 times! The evil Saiyan screams. In an explosion of black, glowing, crimson energy, the Godslayer displays a power no one ever imagined he could achieve. Only with the release of Cumber's power does that dimension begin to shake, with its walls beginning to crack and countless fissures opening in the fabric of space-time. Gogeta realizes that by using Shinken, Cumber has also raised the capabilities of his Kaioken to an extraordinary level. This was something he did not expect the enemy to do. Cumber's muscles expand at the same time as they become extremely vascular, with their veins almost popping out of the body. Not even Cumber's voice is the same anymore. Now it has an even deeper tone, which combined with the fury with which that man expresses himself, makes it seem like a real demon speaking. "I will destroy you!" Cumber threatens his enemy. Let's find out, Gogeta says with a smile on his face as he takes his combat stance. Daishinkan realizes that these two are now going to move on to the final move, and tells Zeno to keep his eyes open. But at that moment, Daishinkan notices something, and as he turns to someone who has just arrived there, he asks, "What are you doing here?" Only after Daishinkan asks this, do Zeno and the bodyguards realize they had visitors. The two visitors are two men who have a very serious expression. Cumber attacks! He shoots towards Gogeta with such overwhelming power that his body distorts reality as he moves. The speed that Cumber reaches is so high that it looks like a teleportation, making him suddenly disappear and reappear in front of Gogeta with a punch already armed. From one moment to the next, that entire dimension explodes when an impact wave of monstrous proportions is released. With the destruction of this dimension, a gigantic dimension-sized black hole is formed in the fabric of reality, and at the center of this black hole are Gogeta and Cumber. The latter is in shock as he realizes that even his 10,000 times more powerful punch was held by a single hand from Gogeta. "Damn you!" Cumber curses his opponent. "Well, at least now maybe you'll give me a little fun," Gogeta says with a content smile. Cumber and Gogeta start an exchange of blows. The gravitational force of a black hole is so great that not even light can move through it. However, Gogeta and Cumber can, and they don't just move. They move at a completely extraordinary speed, surpassing the insurmountable gravitational force of that gigantic black hole. As their blows are exchanged in that sea of darkness, the collisions of their blows, energized by their titanic powers, begin to generate extremely powerful electrical waves and consequently, light. Their transcendental powers generate light where there can be no light. Gogeta is very excited and says that Cumber is giving him a good warm-up, but the Godslayer doesn't share this excitement, recognizing that despite his efforts, his attacks aren't reaching Gogeta. "You bastard! You're still kidding me, aren't you?" the evil Saiyan asks, and without even waiting for a response, Cumber shouts, "I won't allow it!" Kaioken increased 20,000 times! The black and red explosion of the Godslayer begins to shake the dimensional balance of the black hole, altering the force of gravity in that place. Cumber's muscles grow even more, gaining almost inhuman proportions. His next attack is a punch, containing 20,000 times his normal power. But Gogeta is not intimidated, responding with a punch too. In the collision of the two Saiyans' fists, that black hole explodes! With the complete destruction of that dark dimension, they will end up in a solar dimension, a place that contains millions of suns. The heat generated in that dimension is monstrous, making any possibility of life out of the question. But this doesn't apply to Cumber and Gogeta, who continue their intense contest of attacks as if the extreme hostility of that environment was nothing. When attempting an attack on Gogeta, Cumber has his arm held and his body ends up being majestically manipulated by Gogeta, who, showing all the technical refinement of Ultra Instinct, maneuvers the opponent's body, sending him spinning against one of the several suns around. But Cumber pulls himself together and just makes it to one of the suns, landing on his feet. Gogeta soon follows, landing in the sun as he attacks. Standing on a sun, the two continue their sequence of attacks, defenses, and dodges. Again, Cumber realizes that something is wrong. Gogeta is still just playing! And he proves this when an attack from Cumber comes towards him and he, with the technical maneuver, deflects the opponent's arm with just one hand and, pulling him towards him, hits Cumber on the forehead with a flick. But it wasn't a normal flick. At the tip of Gogeta's finger was a tiny sphere of energy of destruction, and when this sphere hits the evil Saiyan's forehead, along with the flick, it generates a huge explosion, with enough power to destroy the entire sun they were on top of. After receiving such an attack, Cumber is sent spinning for millions of kilometers until reaching another sun, which, when hit by Cumber's body, explodes in an explosion of stratospheric proportions, spreading energy and heat for countless kilometers. But despite fully receiving the power of this explosion, Cumber's body does not suffer such considerable damage. But his pride suffers. The Godslayer has an indomitable fury in his heart, and he exudes this fury along with his power, which makes all of reality shake as he screams, "Kaioken increased 40,000 times!" Cumber's muscles expand even further, taking on a completely disproportionate shape. Gogeta warns him about the danger of continuing to do this, saying that even using Shinken, Cumber's body has a limit. But the Godslayer doesn't care about any of this. He just wants the blood of the enemy that humiliates him so much. Extending both hands, Cumber discharges an extremely powerful torrent of energy that goes towards Gogeta. But Gogeta promptly responds, creating a Kienzan of planetary proportions and launching the planet-sized key cutting disc towards Cumber's attack. The planetary Kienzan cuts Cumber's energy in half as it spins towards him, forcing the evil Saiyan to dodge. Cumber gets very angry about this and says, "What? Do you think it's a big deal for using this? Know that I also learned this technique from that Earthling, and I can do better!" Cumber creates a Kienzan the size of 2 planets and then launches it towards Gogeta. However, Gogeta doesn't dodge. He stands still waiting for the attack to arrive. What is that? Has he gone crazy to the point where he thinks he can receive that attack? Cumber asks himself in thought, surprised by the enemy's attitude. Gogeta waits for the disc to reach him, and then, in a completely surprising act, he touches the Kienzan with the tip of his finger, and in the next instant, the disc disappears. Cumber is extremely shocked, wondering what just happened. It's simple. Gogeta responds, "I teleported your attack to another place, but I did it so quickly that I didn't even have time to cut myself." At first, Cumber stares at him with an astonished look of surprise, but then his expression changes to complete anger. He attacks, reaching Gogeta with several attacks that the Saiyan fusion deals with very skillful dodges. "I'm noticing that your attacks are much faster and stronger," Gogeta comments. Cumber asks if he's just going to dodge, and says that now that his power has increased again, Gogeta won't be able to receive his blows anymore. "Do you think that?" Gogeta asks. "So let's see." In a surprising act, Gogeta simply stops moving and opens his arms, clearly a gesture of someone willing to receive a direct attack from the front. At first, Cumber is very surprised, even remaining silent for a few seconds. But then he gets really angry, saying that Gogeta is the most arrogant guy he's ever met, and that he's going to pay for all this arrogance. Concentrating a very large amount of strength in one of his hands, Cumber lunges forward with everything he has for a finishing punch. Cumber's punch hits Gogeta's chest. The impact of that punch is so monstrous that the vibrational energy generated by it makes all the millions of suns in that dimension rattle, shaking those suns at an atomic level and causing instability in the energy molecules. However, nothing shook Gogeta's body, who received this punch and remained completely indifferent. Cumber's shock is too great. He remains static for a moment, staring at Gogeta with his wide eyes. He floats away, looking at his opponent in a catatonic state, as if a monstrous haunting were right before him. In a short time, the atomic instability of those suns is so great that they begin to explode, generating a chain effect that results in millions of almost simultaneous explosions that create an impact power at a cosmic level that simply destroys that entire dimension. The explosion reaches interdimensional levels, opening a rift in space-time that makes it leak into the vacuum of Universe 7 space and still has enough destructive capacity to make the entire South Galaxy disappear, leaving only a blank space left, where Gogeta and Cumber are now. Man, how hot! Did you need all this fuss? Because of you, many people died here in this galaxy. Gogeta complains. Cumber stays silent. Gogeta continues talking. I thought I could have some fun with you, but I can't. You're very unstable and dangerous, and I won't allow you to kill more people unnecessarily. Besides, this fight isn't even fun, since you're too weak to fight me. When Gogeta says this, Cumber goes into an even greater state of fury. You wretch! How dare you humiliate me like that! I will not forgive you! Cumber begins to scream as he begins to exude even more power. Kaioken increased 80,000 times! When he shouts this, a ridiculously powerful aura surrounds his body, causing the entire universe to tremble desperately, while Cumber's muscles, already extremely large, grow even more. As he transforms into a true muscle monster, his skin begins to tear, and blood begins to squirt from his body from multiple points, the result of the rupture of veins and arteries that can no longer support such power. Cumber took on a terrifying appearance, completely deformed by his own power. Looking at Cumber, Gogeta says that he concentrated so much power in his muscles that he overloaded them, and now he will barely be able to move. He has already exceeded his body's limits, and no matter how much he refuses to accept it, this fight is already over. But Cumber smiles and says he doesn't intend to keep that power in his body. Gogeta asks what he means by that. At that moment, Cumber extends his two hands high and begins to release his energy in the form of a globe of power that mixes black, purple, and white. However, as he creates this globe of power, his muscles begin to decrease in size. All that swelling starts to disappear, as if they were emptying. The result of this is that the globe of energy that is being created begins to gain completely gigantic proportions, surpassing the size of a planet, then a solar system, then a galaxy, and finally, Cumber's energy simply surpasses the size of the whole universe. The globe of energy created by Cumber literally surpasses the size of Universe 7. Cumber reaches an unimaginable level. He increases the power of his Shinken by 80,000 times through Kaioken, and now prepares an attack whose size surpasses an entire universe. How large will the destruction be from this attack? Find out in the next episodes of Dragon Ball Shinken.